So today I'll be reviewing Pokemon Journeys episode 114, Training Battle of Flames, Ash vs Paul. In this episode we get the massive return of Paul and his battle with Ash, along with Ash training with all of his old Pokemon, so let's talk about it. So the episode starts off with Ash training for the Masters 8 tournament, and he says that he needs to make his Pokemon faster and even more powerful, and when Go asks how, he says he's just going to get them fired up, which didn't make much sense to Go, but before they can even question it, Ash gets a call from Professor Oak saying that he should come to the lab, and before the professor can even finish talking, Ash decides that he's going to go there to get his Pokemon fired up. So when Ash gets to the lab, we get the reunion with him and all of his Pokemon, which was great since we only saw a few of them last time, and that's when Ash tells them that he needs them to share their power with him for the Masters 8 tournament, which unfortunately for us just means training with his old Pokemon. I know many people, including myself, wanted Ash to bring back his old Pokemon, since most of them are stronger than a few of his current members like Gengar and Dracovish, but it looks like that won't be the case this time, even though this would have made for the perfect opportunity for it. Moving on though, after that we see Gengar get sent flying after literally just touching Infernape, and then gets blasted by a Thunderbolt on the way down, and that's when the legend himself Paul makes his appearance, and he wastes no time at all and starts questioning Ash's skill immediately. Then Ash tells Go about Paul and his history with Infernape, and Professor Oak says that Paul came here to learn more about Pokemon. Then we see Gengar training with all the fire types to learn a new move, as well as Lucario and the others trying to master theirs. Then we switch back to Ash and Paul and learn that he didn't take part in the World Championships because he's not one for festivities, which honestly sucks to hear, but does make sense as to why we didn't see him at all. I definitely would have preferred him being Ash's rival again in a race to the Masters 8 tournament over just one appearance, but maybe we could see him next time. So after that, Ash challenges Paul to a battle, which is a 3v3 with no switches, which is a rule I feel like I only ever see them battle with, but this was likely just a nod to their first battle with the same rules. So then we get the 3v3 battle with Ash versus Paul, and it starts off with Ash using Lucario and Paul using Gyarados, which I didn't pay much attention to at first, and Lucario ends up overcoming Gyarados by charging up its aura and steel type powers, which leads to it learning Bullet Punch and winning the battle. Then we get Dragonite versus Garchomp, and Dragonite goes blow for blow with it at first until it gets hit with Stone Edge and Draco Meteor, and Ash tries to counter by having Dragonite charge in with Draco Meteor around it like a counter shield, but Garchomp stops it and defeats Dragonite with Dragon Claw, giving Paul the win. Then we get the final matchup with Paul sending out Metagross, and that's when I put together exactly what Go did, and that's the fact that Paul was using the ace Pokemon of the champions. Nothing came to mind with Gyarados, I just thought that he had one, and since Paul is from Sinnoh, him having a Garchomp isn't strange at all, but Metagross was an entirely different story because it was way too much of a coincidence, but I thought it made for a great surprise within the episode. So then Ash sends out Gengar as his final Pokemon, and Metagross was able to outspeed it and send it flying, and that's when Paul asks Ash if he really calls himself one of the Masters 8, and says that if he's struggling against him then he'll have no hope of winning, and Ash responds by having Gengar use Will-O-Wisp, which causes Metagross to burn and slows down its Comet Punch, and Gengar finishes it off with a point-blank Shadow Ball, giving Ash the win. Afterwards, Go asks Paul about him using the Masters 8 Ace Pokemon, but Paul doesn't say anything and thanks the professor for everything and says goodbye to Infernape, and then waves off Ash as a reference to their final departure. Then the professor tells us that Paul has been asked to be a gym leader, which is why he came to learn about Pokemon, which is a great reference to Pokemon Gold and Silver, where Red's rival Blue, who similar to Paul, became a gym leader. So after everything is over, Ash says that he wants to go straight to the Masters 8 tournament, but before he can go, Delia shows up and stops him and says that he should come home first, and the episode ends with the narrator saying that next time the curtain rises on the Masters 8 tournament. And with that, the episode ends. This was a really good episode. Seeing all of Ash's old Pokemon again was great, and I love how they all trained with Ash's new Pokemon in groups that fit them. I also thought it was great seeing Paul again, and having him battle Ash was the perfect last test before Masterclass. I wish they gave us an update as to how he did in the Battle Frontier, since that was an integral part of his arc, but I do appreciate them adding a bit of development with him on the way to becoming a gym leader. They didn't specify what gym it would be, but if I had to take a guess, it's going to be the Viridian Gym in Kanto, just like Blue did in Gold and Silver, especially since Gary isn't going to do it with him being in Project Mew. Overall, this made for a great episode, and I give it a 9 out of 10. In my next video, I'll be talking about the first round matchups for the Masters 8, so be sure to be on the lookout for that. With that being said, thanks for watching, and bye.